Well, if you figure it out, just it'll be nice to be able to see your face. All right, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 5:06, and just I'm sorry, I'm just getting rid of this here. My name's Patty Silva. I'm the council chair, and we are going to kind of switch things up a little bit. But just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted apparently now on YouTube. And Wes, is it still going to go on the DDS website as well?
Yes, so that's not going to change. We use the YouTube page to house the videos. So this is just more of an easier and an alternative way to share them with folks.
Great, very good. So whenever anybody is going to speak, if you could just say your name and identify, if you're a council member or a member of the public for the recording, that would be great. So we'll go ahead and get started. We are going to, all right. First off, Jordan is on the road. Commissioner Chef is on the road and asked if we could switch up the order a little bit. Jordan, do you have time for us to do introductions, or do you want to just go right into your?
I would be happy to sit through introductions if we can be Jordan Chef, DDS Commissioner, if we can be well behaved, and I'm always guilty of this in our introductions of finding reasons to connect and generate conversation unrelated to introductions. Always guilty of it myself. If we can all behave, we can do introductions first and it'll be okay. But if we go in our normal flow, that could extend past 6:30.
Patty Silva, Council Chair, agreed. So if we could keep them short, although we do have two people who we want to get to know a little bit better, our new council member, Edwin Selden, and also our guest, Siobhan McKayanan. So I will go first. Patty Silva, Council Chair. I live in Wethersfield, and I have three adult children. My youngest daughter, Bella, is 26, and she has Down syndrome, and she gets her services from FAVAR. And my oldest daughter, Liliana, is a DDS case manager. And my son, Manny, the middle, is out in San Diego, and he's a physical therapist. Nice to see you all. Christine, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Christine Hainsworth-Strauss. I have 4 children, 3 of whom receive DDS services. 1 is with Futures, 2 are with FAVAR, and they're all, this is a big drum roll please, all now residentially placed in IHS housing.
All right, anybody feel free to step in.
Edwin Selden, I go by Van.
Go ahead, Edward.
I go by Van, V-A-N. I have a son who's Down syndrome. He's 53. He lives in an IHS. I have a younger son who works for Benhaven. So it's part of a family obligation. My late wife was a speech pathologist who dealt with many of the clients with DDS. I spent my career in government, particularly the state of Connecticut, working in the governor's office and managing programs in other agencies, worked at local government, and was a founding member of what was known as Vantage Group, Inc. And I spent years as board president. It's now called Mosaic. And unfortunately, it's on enhanced evaluation or whatever they call it now. So it's a pleasure to be here. It only took a year to get me on the commission.
Very good. Thank you. Faye, go ahead.
I'm Faye Lenz. I have 6 children, all boys. Our youngest son, Dan, is IDD/autism, and I'm happy to be here.
Hi, everybody. I am Siobhan McKayanan, and I am the newly minted Executive Director for the State ARC Agency here in Connecticut. I have spent most of my career working in advocacy, primarily for children and families in New York City, and recently in the last 2.5, 3 years in Bridgeport. And so I'm happy to be here lending all of my passions and knowledge and heart to the mission of IDD, which was spawned by the birth of my husband and I, Vincent's eldest daughter. We have two beautiful girls, Salome, whom was born with a congenital heart defect and Down syndrome. She's 3.5. And we have Stella Chloe, who is 1.5 going on 40. So I love the adventure of it all. And I'm happy to be here.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Sorry, I'm watching Jordan's reaction. Jordan has a Stella, so he's all excited.
Well, and my Jordan Chef DDS Commissioner, my Stella lives with her sister Chloe.
Oh my goodness.
Siobhan and I connected previous to this and already felt bonded, and now it's just cemented fully.
Totally.
Okay, let's see. Nicole, I know you're on. Nicole's video. She's not on video though. She's on the phone. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Nicole Milo, council member. I am on the road, so thank you. Bear with me. First time dialing in. I am the mother of 5 children. My oldest, Caleb, has profound autism, and we are getting ready to transition him from his residential school placement into his own programming. And we live in the northwest corner, and I'm really happy to be part of the council, and I wish I could see everybody's faces tonight.
Thank you. All right. How about Michael?
Hi, Michael Beloff, parent of 1 child, Ben, who's 26 and has autism and an intellectual disability. He gets his services at Ableist, where I've been on the board for, God help me, 23 years. The last 15 as treasurer, and they won't let me leave. Professionally, I'm a financial advisor specializing working with families with special needs children. I also serve on the advisory board of the U.S. Autism Association.
Thank you, Michael. Phyllis. Phyllis is on phone as well.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Zimmer. I'm an occupational therapist, and I represent the Southbury Training School trustees.
Thank you. Pam.
Pam Donnaroma, council member. I have 2 great daughters and 2 son-in-laws and 4 grandchildren. I am also a guardian of a young woman with IDD and has recently been diagnosed as autism through a wonderful Beckett assessment that was funded by DDS. It's a great experience and gives us hope that things will change. And I'm also the founder of Futures.
Great. Thank you. We also have Damien.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Damian Williams. This is my 2nd year on the council. I'm the father of a 20-year-old young man who is on the autism spectrum. He's currently a student at Future School. I think he has 2 more years to go. I'm happy to be on the council, and I've been learning so much since being a part of it.
Thank
And
you.
professionally,
Right.
I'm sorry. Professionally, I am the executive director and chief financial officer at Futures Incorporated.
Thank you, Damien. Deirdre.
Hi, my name is Deidre Toole. I'm on the council, and I'm just like Damien. I am learning every single month that I sit on these wonderful meetings, and I have a lot to learn. I am a special ed educator in Stonington, Connecticut. I live in Mystic. I've been with Stonington Public Schools since 1985, and most of my life I've spent working in community classroom special education transition programs, and recently got hired by Mystic Aquarium to run a kind of a volunteer program for individuals with disabilities, as well as kind of be a disability advocate accommodations coordinator. So I also have 3 sons and love living in Mystic. I wish I was a little closer to all you guys, but it is a great place for hopefully you all to come visit someday.
Thank you. Kevin Zingler.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Zingler. I am the Executive Director of Marketing of Manchester. I've been on the council for several years now. I was also a past chair. So I'm glad to be back here and helping out in any way I can to help the individuals and families supported by DDS.
Thank you. Wes, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Wes. You'll see some emails from me with a much longer name. It's Wesanit, but please feel free to call me Wes. I work for DDS. I'm the executive secretary to Commissioner Chef. I've been on with you guys for quite a few years now, and I learn something every time I'm around you guys. I appreciate it so much just to be here, and I hope you guys have a great meeting today. I'm just going to be in the background.
Thank you, Wes. Kevin Bronson.
Sure. Kevin Bronson, DDS. I'm the Communications and Legislative Director. And I'm also here in support of the Commissioner for DDS.
Thank you. We also have some members of the public, and then I'll go to Jordan afterwards and he can launch right into his. All right, so we have Adrian Benjamin.
Hello. I'm a former council member and now I'm just a guest, but a member of the public. Do I have my 3 minutes now or
We'll do that after.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then we have Rick Rothstein.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a former council member and still on the rack.
Thank you, Rick. And who else do we have here that I missed? Did I miss anybody? Christine? Yes, Chris. No, we did you, right?
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
she
did
had
you
her hand up.
second. Yeah. Okay. I think we now go to Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan Chef, DDS Commissioner, and I appreciate getting bumped to the front. We had a rare. Oops, someone's got their mic on.
That's Rick Rothstein. Yeah, thank you, Rick.
All right, if you can mute, we'll be okay. It seems to have stopped. Thanks, Rick. We had a rare occasion where my daughter Chloe, who's living with my daughter Stella, was able to escape from school for a long weekend, and we're meeting them, she and her boyfriend. So I appreciate the opportunity to get on the road early and get through some of this travel and participate this way and getting bumped to the front. This is the time of a legislative session that commissioners often refer to as the silly season. The governor's budget's been presented to the legislature. Initial rounds of bills have been heard. Some have moved different places and are now being rewritten, and extra things get added in. And we call it the silly season because we don't know what the legislature's budget is going to look like, but we're getting questions from legislators all throughout the building on both sides of the aisle who are all trying to either refine their language or see if there's extra money to be had or see if there's extra money that needs to be given. And so we get a lot of those requests, and Kevin and his team and the rest of my leadership team are engaged in trying to be responsive to all of those questions. And we know that not everything the legislators working on gets to the finish line. So it often feels like exercise for the sake of exercise without an outcome. But we're doing that good work, and that takes up a fair amount of my time. In the last month, I was also able to testify before the Government Oversight Committee with regards to our single state audit from fiscal years 22 and 23. And that preceded, I think, some public hearing on other bills that I was not able to attend in that same day. Aside from that, we continue the good work that we do. We have a number of individuals who need a higher level of care than we are able to typically provide, all waiting for us to create those opportunities in both the private and the public sector. And Shannon Giacovino, who can't be with you tonight for personal reasons, our ombudsperson, furnished a report. She and I have been engaged directly together with several of those families, as well as with public and private partners, trying to figure out solutions and working with our partners at Public Health as well. To see if we can find opportunities to provide a higher level of care than we have traditionally. Aside from that, I mean, that is the bulk of my last month has been engagement legislatively and personally involving myself in a number of family-related situations, trying to find permanent housing opportunities for people. We continue to make improvements in the product of the fiscal intermediary, GTI. When I say that, there are still hiccups. And if you follow any of the groups on social media or other places, there are still a number of families pretty disenfranchised by their experience. At the same time, their error rate gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Unfortunately, it seems to be occurring for some of those same families repeatedly. And it would feel a little different to me where I sit if it was happening sporadically to any number of those folks. But if you're hearing concerns, and I know, Christine, you've been able to share feedback with us from your direct experience, and it's been helpful. Every time you've worked with us, we use that to try and figure out system change. If you're hearing people who are struggling, who haven't found their way to my inbox, help them. And I will have our team assist with that. We've even gone to the extent of using some of our existing contract with one of our subcontractors to do some project management to help us manage some of the flow of escalation tickets that we generate to help resolve those issues. On the federal level, we are as a state director for services largely funded by Medicaid, roughly 50%. We are suffering whiplash as we hear news on all different fronts. Last week it was about the continuous resolution and how Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security are the targets to fund the $880 billion deficit in that CR. This week it's about education and IDEA and what changes today under Secretary McMahon may have and the impact it may have to any number of the programs, Head Start, early intervention, early childhood education, and IPs, SO5s. I forget the special ed jargon. Deidre knows it. She'll tell you all about it. So that's this week's issue. But we don't have anything clear. I have nothing, I get a lot of questions, are we preparing? Yes. Are we preparing for worst case scenarios? Yes. Do I think worst case scenarios are going to happen? No, he said, nauseously optimistic. I don't think the worst case scenarios, but I don't know any good cases for us with funding, changes in funding, unless there are increases. So even not worst case scenarios are not good case scenarios. But we're working with the governor's office and his legal team. He has an embedded staff in DC, Dan DeSimone, who is working on Connecticut's behalf across wherever he can, making sure Connecticut's represented in conversations, working with our federal delegation and liaising with the governor. Our federal delegation's been at home trying to earn their keep and holding some meetings. Johanna Hayes out in the Waterbury-ish area, but our senators were at the state capitol with some of the House members for Medicaid rally. I think that was maybe Wednesday. It all blends together. My understanding they're gonna be another Medicaid rally coming up once I hear the date. Or some of you, Rick Rothstein probably already knows it. As someone can share. Shannon Giacovino went. There were a lot of people there. I believe Commissioner from DSS also spoke. So that's kind of the lay of the land for me. Edwin, and others, if I haven't extended this offer previously, happy to get to know you better. We can have a phone call or a Teams meeting. Believe it or not, I think I've seen your name on documents out of the governor's office that still linger about, because when I heard your name, I'm like, I know that from somewhere. And when you said you worked out of the governor's office, I'm like, maybe that's where I know it from. I'd love to dig into that a little. And I'm going to leave you to go about my travel because I can't do this and drive effectively. But I had a terrific meeting with Siobhan at the ARC. And Wynn and I forged a very different type of relationship than the ARC traditionally has had in Connecticut. And in other states in terms of partnering and coalition building and trying to work instead of at odds to work side by side. Siobhan seemed really open to that approach to do our work. And I think that based on her prior experiences and some of the things she shared about herself that she's likely to share with you, I'm looking forward to my continued partnership with the ARC going forward. I think it was a great pick. Hard to fill Wynn's shoes. I loved working with him, but I think we are ready for the change. And Faye promised me it'd be great. So if it goes wrong, we'll blame it all on Faye. And I think that's it. If I'll stay for a few minutes if you have questions.
Commissioner, if I may, I'll take you up on that. I'll be overseas all of April, but I'll get in contact with you in May.
Terrific. I look forward to it, Edwin.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, Van. I'll
That's
work
okay.
on that.
All right, Patty Silva, Council Chair. Does anybody have anything for Jordan before he signs off? Christine.
Thank you all.
Jordan, I
Oh,
just want to say, hold on. Sorry, Jordan, it's Christine. He says, no, it's good news. I just want to tell you, I got a really lovely thank you email from somebody in the southern part of the state from Joe's Health with GTI. So thank you so much.
Oh, that's terrific. I'm really happy to hear that. And I'm really glad to hear all 3 kids are getting the residential supports you were looking for. I didn't know that. I was not involved in putting my thumb on the scale in any way. But I always love it when people I work so closely with reap rewards like that. So congratulations to you and your family. And I hope things with your husband's work are going okay.
Okay, Patty Silva, Council Chair. Anybody else for Jordan? All right. Safe
see you in a month.
travels. Thank you, and safe travels.
Thank you.
Okay, Patty Silva, Council Chair. I did see that we had 2 more members that came on after we had done the introductions. So we have Adriana. Would you like to do a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Patty. Adriana Ramirez, council member and family member. I apologize for being late. I was in the West Region RAC meeting that ran a little over, but welcome, Edwin. And I'm excited to connect with you as well. And as I get to know everyone, I've been here about a little over a year. And I currently hold a position with Connecticut Family Support Network, supporting families as well. So I love that I get to professionally connect with families and support our community, and especially with my past family members' experience and advocating for them personally. And I get to do it in a professional level as well. So I'm very excited, and joining this wonderful council has been excellent because it's such a community of support here. So welcome aboard.
Patty, Council Chair. Thank you, Adriana. I apologize for the interruption too. My phone was ringing. Also, we had Lisa. Lisa, are you still on?
I'm here.
Okay. Did you want to do a quick introduction?
Sure. My name is Lisa Weisinger. I have a 30-year-old oldest child of mine has Down syndrome. He's living on his own with some supports in West Hartford and absolutely loves it, and being by himself without his parents. I completely understand why. I am a physician by trade. I work part-time and try and really work on my advocacy skills because it's been a while since I've been up on the Capitol. So welcome to everyone new. Siobhan, it was really nice chatting with you the other day, and hope to meet everybody in person sometime in the not too distant future.
Very good. Thank you, Patty Silva, Council Chair. We can go into opportunity for public participation now. If there's anybody, member of the public who would like to speak, you have 3 minutes, and just please say your name and your affiliation. Thank you. Adrian, go ahead.
Hello, thank you, Patty. Adrian Benjamin, former council member, parent of Zoe, who's 28, has profound autism and gets services, residential services and day services from HARC. So this is I'm officially no longer on the council, and I could get a little sentimental about it and a little teary, but I'm going to try not to, because I've had 12 years, which sort of is a long time. But basically, welcome, Van. I hope that things go well. I'm sure they will. I think one thing that you will notice is the meetings get shorter because I'm pretty talky. So you'll have shorter meetings now, unless somebody steps up and starts talking like me. I am the current new chair of a new group called the Profound Autism Alliance, which is a national profound autism group. And we've only been functioning for several months. And Rick Rothstein, who's here, and Nicole, who's here, are part of the steering committee. I'm very glad to have them. You know, it's been just a few months, but we've had some accomplishments I want to tell you about real quick. And that's House Bill 7108. Please write down 7108, because I'm going to ask all of you to call your representatives and ask them to support this bill. It's the first autism bill there's been. It was supported unanimously by the Human Services Committee just a few days ago. And I think it was Tuesday. And it has two parts. One part is a little challenging because it's going to have a big fiscal note. It's about studying the getting rid of the IQ level of need for getting people into DDS services for people that have higher than 70 and over. And that's not the part I'm focused on, but I do feel for those people, of course, that if you have a 71 IQ, you still need services, but that's not my focus. The second part of the bill is about profound autism and about things like the way our abuse and neglect investigations are conducted, trying to improve that and get more transparency, but mostly about understanding how many people DDS serves do have autism, severe and profound autism, so we can better educate the staff at agencies about autism. Because I know when my daughter first got to her group home, not one person there had ever worked with somebody with nonverbal autism. It was very challenging, and so people training, the staff need training. So it's pretty excited about this bill. Both Democrats and Republicans all voted for it on the Human Services Committee, but next it has to go to the whole House. And after that, it has to go to the whole Senate. And after that, it goes to the governor. So it's advocacy time. The other thing is that there's nothing in that bill about raising the pay or the rates for the agencies. So please, 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 please ask your representatives, because it's really hard to have staff when they're only paid 17 whatever an hour. And I think Costco's now paying 25 an hour and Amazon's paying 23 an hour. So we need to raise the pay of those folks. So this is the time, because the governor's budget is not our friend. We need to advocate around that. And I'm sort of addicted to advocacy, so you're probably going to see me again next month. I'll take questions. Was that 3 minutes?
Probably. All right, Patty Silva, Council Chair. If there's no questions for Adrian, is there anybody else from the public who would like to speak?
This is Nicole Milo. I'm sorry I can't raise my hand, council member. I just wanted to say thank you, Adrian, for that, and thank you to you and Rick for the amount of time that you've really dedicated to all of this. I think it's been very productive, and I'm very grateful for all of your hard work.
Okay. Patty Silva, Council Chair. Thank you, Adrian. It's good to see you here, and Rick as well. Great to have you guys here. And I hope that you continue to come and keep us real and keep us updated on this as well, too. Feel free to send any information to me on updates, and I can get it out to the council as well. So be happy to do that. All right. We are going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Just a reminder that the previous meetings draft videos are available on the DDS website, and there is a live link in the agenda that will take you there, and also on YouTube apparently now. So just that reminder. And we are so happy to have our guest Siobhan here, and wanted to give her some more time just to speak and share about whatever she'd like to with us. So welcome. We're so happy to have you here today.
Hi, thank you so much, Patty, and everybody else. And so, just as Commissioner Chef mentioned around just my position and philosophy when it comes to doing this kind of work, I come from a caseworker social work background, and of course have moved my way up. And so, I believe that collaboration and partnership is what gets you through. And so, certainly, the ARC Board of Directors and EDs led by Kevin Zingler has welcomed me with open arms, and everyone has just proven themselves to be so supportive. As I've got my roller skates on, doing my best to catch up in the middle of legislative season. But certainly, I know that there's a lot to learn. I know there are a lot of layers to this work and this mission, but I'm committed to working with all of you in making sure that we're doing all of what's needful and in the best interest of the families that we're all here to serving, right? We're all here not just in the interest of our own families, but in the interest of the families of the communities that represent our families. And so I just want to pause and essentially see if you all have any questions of me and where we are right now with the ARC, or any questions in general.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. No questions for Siobhan? All right. It seems like everybody's might be familiar with you already, which is, really good. So, Pam, did you have your hand up? No. Okay. All right.
I was scratching my head.
Was there anything else that you wanted to add or share with us?
Sure. I mean, my background is very vast, and I don't want to take up too much of your meeting, going into all of my background, essentially, but coming from the world in the space of organizing and advocacies, beginning with families who are marginalized and at risk in New York City, I believe that really was kind of the impetus for really why I'm able to do this work with the heart that I'm able to do it. And certainly having a daughter with Down syndrome and with a congenital heart defect, so with multiple disabilities, if you will, at this time, and doing what's necessary to ensure that she thrives is certainly all of what I bring to the table in this work. I believe in holding people accountable. So I'm with all of us in it being, as former council member just mentioned, it's advocacy time, which I agree with, because there's a lot at stake and we're living in some serious times. And so, we want to make sure that we find ourselves on the right side of history, right? And so that's really all else that I have to share with us.
Thank you, Patty Silva, Council Chair. Adriana, I see your hand is up.
Thank you, Patty. Adriana Ramirez, council member. Siobhan, it was great to meet you. A couple of different events. I wanted to ask, because I know, I think you held like a town hall or something early March, and unfortunately, I really wanted to attend. I wasn't able to. So I'm selfishly asking, was it recorded, or will you be doing another one? Or for those that might have missed it, did you kind of go over anything overarching about maybe an agenda or something that you're looking to do beginning with your position at the ARC?
Yeah, thank you for that. So really what I focused on in that town hall it was a two-pronged approach. I really gave people insight into the depth of who I am as an individual and what brought me to this work. So I shared and talked about my background, not just beginning from social work and education and in faith, because I am also a clergywoman. I do have, I'm bivocational, if you will. I'm an ordained reverend. And so I talked about that and how that also informs my work, but also being a first-generation American-born citizen to Jamaican immigrant parents, right? And how those dualities informs the work that I have been able to do for almost 30 years. And so really I focus on that. And so with the ARC right now, my focus really is working closely with the board of directors and with the EDs, and really just doing a fine-tooth comb around what our priorities are, making sure that they're aligned with our national priorities, and really seeing how we can scaffold and scale internally so that we can up the scales on the things that we are doing. And so for me, I do want to expand programming. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to involve young people in the work that we're doing around advocacy. A lot of organizations I know across the country are doing it. And so that's something that I envision as far as inculcating into the work that we are already doing in the ARC. Another thing is I know that COVID kind of disbanded some of what we used to do as far as gathering in person. And so I really want to re-galvanize a lot of our families. So as an example, Families for Families was one of our staple, programmings, and that's really integral, I think. And so, I'd like to be able to do that with the support of this group across the state of Connecticut. And so, that's kind of one of my other priorities, as well as, I was able to give a testimony last week at the Black and Latino caucuses. And so I want to really help to kind of disband, just some of the myths that are out there around, who this work really impacts, and really seeing how we can, extend the olive branch in reaching communities that have not been typically historically reached before across the ARC spectrum. So those are my immediate priorities. Anything deeper than that, of course, will be involved in following a strategic planning exercise. But those are some of my immediate priorities for sure. I hope that answers the question.
Adriana Ramirez, council member. Yes, very much so. Thank you for that recap. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Patty Silva, council chair. Is there anything else for Siobhan? Okay.
Faye Lenz, council member, and also a member of the state ARC. I just want to say that we are thrilled to have Siobhan, that she has a vision, and she is wonderful to work with. And I think that we've come out of a tough time, and Wynn did a great job, but we need to move on now, and there's a lot of issues and that need to be addressed for all of our kids or siblings or people that we know with IDD and autism, and that she's in the right place at the right time. So thank you, Siobhan, for coming tonight and sharing with us.
Thank you, Faye.
Hey, Patty Silva, council chair. Thank you again, Siobhan. And you are welcome to stay as long as you're able to. See what we do or don't do. And we're very happy to have you with us. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the ombudsperson report. Shannon had a personal situation and is not able to be here at the meeting tonight. So she did send out the report to everybody. If anybody has any questions, they can always email her or contact her directly. So we'll go ahead. We already did the commissioner's update. So next item is to talk about the legislative breakfast / awards nominations. Our committee met, gosh, what day is it today? We met on Wednesday. They're all running together. And we did go through the nominations, and we wanted to put forward some of what we've come up with and get the council's feedback on it. So the self-advocacy award, there was a gentleman, Josh Mears, and he sounds like a wonderful individual. He is the vice president of the statewide self-advocacy organization, People First of Connecticut. He has been attending legislative events, and he spoke at a breakfast. He has attended 2 conferences on behalf of People First. the TASH National Conference in New Orleans and the Reinventing Quality Conference in Baltimore, Maryland. And his dream is to become a lobbyist at the legislature so he can bring the issues facing all people with disabilities to policymakers to initiate change. So we thought that he sounded like a great candidate. So we wanted to put him forward as our suggested nominee. And then for the business champion, we had a nomination for Patty Strazula in the Hampton Inn for the Business Champion Award. And just to read a little bit about this, the Hampton Inn has been a pillar of inclusive employment as an employer that works as an ally to CCARC and its served population. And they have employed individuals in integrated and competitive employment. Hang on one second here, guys. All right, yep, sorry. And Patty Strazula has been an instrumental individual as an employee of Buffalo Lodging, Farmington Hampton Inn. She's collaborated with CCARC to include the individuals in company activities, advocated for and protected their rights, as well as participated in CCARC events. And so there's also Matthew Gerard's a general manager who has been an absolute pleasure to work with. So she wanted, so the nomination would be for Patty Strazula in the Hampton Inn. So that we thought that they were an excellent, excellent candidate, and that's who we, would like to put forward for your consideration. And then, pardon me, I'm trying to read from my messy notes. Legislative champions. This is always a fun category because we get to recognize legislators who are working to help advance causes and policy for our loved ones. So we have to put forward. What we're trying to do is to balance this out and nominate a member from each party. So for the Republican Party, we have Tom Delnicki, who is a representative from South Windsor, and he has been a member of the IDD caucus since 2017. And for that reason and others as well, we thought that he would be a good proposal for that part of the award. And then we do have a couple of possibilities for on the Democratic side. We have Representative Gilchrist, who is out of, I think, West Hartford, and also Representative McCarthy Vahey, who is down in, I believe, the Litchfield area. Sorry, we kind of going back and forth too is that they are both representatives. If we wanted to kind of balance this out and do a representative and a senator, there was Senator Anwar, but he's also from South Windsor. So do we want to, kind of do two people from South Windsor because that's where Tom Delnicki is from. So we wanted to kind of get your feedback on that because we thought that they were all great possibilities. And there was also Senator Lesser as well, he represents, this whole area where I am, Weathersfield, Rocky Hill, Cromwell, I think Newington and Middletown. So just wanted to put this out there for discussion and see, thank you, Bridgeport Fairfield. Thank you, Kevin. That is where Representative McCarthy Vahey is from. So wanted to put this out for discussion and see what you guys thought about these proposed awardees. So anybody have?
Patty, we
Yes.
also had Representative Hilda Santiago.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did I miss that? I may have missed it.
Yeah, we had sent out a text earlier today to Faye, kind of just boiling things down a little bit. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We did also have nominations for Senator Kathy Austin and Jay Case and Lucy Dathan, but we have already recognized them in the past. I went through past minutes from, I think it was 2019, and some of them were honored back then, and then last year we honored Dathan and Case. So we've gotten them all taken care of already. So anybody have anything they want to add? Or Kevin, go ahead.
Kevin Zingler, council member. I just wanted to first off just let the council know that we worked really hard at trying to narrow this down, and there are a lot of great legislators out there. This is always a tough choice, but we do have to narrow it down for the sake of the program, if you will, and with the eye to there's always next year, if you will. So I think that was the thing that we were concerned about, but we also want to make sure that this was nonpartisan, that this was it was something that could be both parties be recognized, because everyone does do both things on both sides of the aisle. And we wanted to make sure that we recognize that bipartisan spirit that helps out the IDD community here in Connecticut. So, with that, I honestly don't have any strong feelings towards, in terms of, how this should go, but I defer to other council members. But I think all of them are worthy of this award or this honor. In terms of if it's 4 versus 2, because I know that we, as Patty had led this discussion, there's 2. There's Delnicki, who's a Republican, and then a Democrat. So you have the names that she had mentioned. I could go either way. I know that Representative Gilchrist has been a strong supporter this legislative season. I saw it at the Appropriations Committee. I've seen it in some of the conversations that she's had in the hallway of the legislature and at the Capitol. So, I would support that, those 2 nominations, Delnicki and Gilchrist, if this council decided to put those 2 names forward. But for folks who are watching this in the future, or watching it not live, but in the future, it really is a tough decision to do. But it's something that we should do annually to recognize our legislative champions. So I'm glad this council can do it. So with that, I'll yield back to the chair. Thank you.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Thank you, Kevin. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add or comment on? Or Adriana, I see.
Thank you, Adriana Ramirez, council member. It was just a request I put in the chat. Can you list them in the chat? Because I think we were talking about it a little bit, and I lost track of what the list is, to be honest with you. If you wouldn't mind putting it in the chat, because I can be very visual as well. Thank you.
I think Kevin Bronson did that. Jillian Gilchrist, Kristen McCarthy-Vahey, Tom Delnicki. Yep. Yes. And like I said, if we wanted to do a rep and a senator to kind of get both, factions there. Kevin Bronson, go ahead.
Patty, Kevin Bronson, DDS. Just for some context, and Patty, you might have said this, and I apologize, but I missed it. So Jillian Gilchrist is the House Chair of Human Services Committee, and Kristen McCarthy-Vahey is the House Chair of Public Health. Both committees are impactful to DDS. Public Health, for those who don't know, is the Committee of Cognizance for DDS, but DSS is through Human Services. So they both see issues or hear issues of DDS. So I just wanted to add that in for you, Patty.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Thank you for that context, Kevin.
Patty,
go ahead, Faye.
Lenz, council member. I like the idea that Kevin Ziegler had mentioned having someone from both parties. And in the past, that's what we've usually done and we've also, I don't know if it makes a difference whether it's two representatives or a representative and a senator. But I think Julian Gilchrist and Danicki would be perfectly acceptable for me. They've both done a lot of hard work, and I know more about Julian Gilchrist, and she's a member of the caucus, and she's been at our Families for Families Days. Last year, she was there all day, and this year she got pulled out a little bit. But I know she's a great supporter of our family members. So.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Thank you for that, Faye. Is there anybody else who had anything to add? Christine.
Hi, Christine Hainsworth Strauss. I am not familiar with Representative, is it Vahey? Am I pronouncing it correctly? But I do have met Jillian Gilchrist. I have been very impressed with her. She came on in 2019 during COVID and still got people together in a safe way and families, and really went out of her way to connect with our families. She's not my representative, but I have been very, very impressed with how she has dealt with our community and advocated for us. So I'd be perfectly happy with her. But I don't know Representative Vahey, so.
Yeah, Patty Silva, Council Chair. Is there anyone else who has anything to add? No? Okay.
Yep. Kevin
Go ahead,
Ziegler,
Kevin.
council member. I just wanted to and he is not my representative, Delnicki, but you guys know I am in Manchester and I do know who he is and I do come across him. I will let you know that he is very supportive of the IDD community. He has come to events at our agency. And also, I don't know if you know this, but this will be our 4th legislative breakfast. So the last 3 legislative breakfasts, he always showed up at that event. He always made a point to stop by and say hi and shake hands and talk to our individuals. Even though you may not have known that he was in the room or he was just another representative stopping by. I think that speaks volumes of working quietly behind the scenes to get things done. And he is a very public person too, but I just want the council to note that basically he is present and he is participating in activities and events. He was at Family Hearing Day. He was at various events and activities, and you will catch him in the hallways talking to individuals and families that are supported by DDS. I see it all the time when I'm up there. So he is very active, and yeah, I think he'd be a great choice. Like I said, he's not my representative, but I've seen him in action and the advocacy that he can do. So I think he's well deserving of this award.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Thank you, Kevin. So it kind of sounds like that's where we're leaning.
Sorry, Patty, Lisa has her hand up.
Oh, thank you. Lisa, go ahead.
Hey, Patty, everyone. I don't know if he's won it in the past, but Derek Slapp has been an incredible advocate for our families. And he and his team actually reach out to me and say, hey, do you want to come to the Capitol? This bill is being introduced or whatever. So I actually think he's not my representative either, but Senator Slapp is an amazing advocate for our family members.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Thank you, Lisa. I wish that we had known that earlier because we would have put that in our consideration through the subcommittee. We would love to keep him on to consider for next year. Does that seem okay with everybody? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Does anybody else have anything to add? Okay. So the way the conversations were going, it seems like Tom Delnicki would be a good candidate from the Republican side, and he is also a member of the IDD caucus. And then I heard, and tell me if I'm wrong, that Representative Gilchrist is a seems to be a very strong candidate as well too. Does that seem to be where we're going here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anybody, everybody okay with moving forward? And I can, what we'll do is we'll talk about each category and then we'll just do a one vote on all of them as long as we're all in consensus as we're going along. Does that sound okay? All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the next category is the innovative initiatives, which has 3 subcategories to it. And the first one is employment. And the entity that we would like to propose as the candidate for this is the Kitchenette Futures. And I know that we we have been able to actually take a visit there. We had our December council meeting there, and we had a wonderful time, got to see the program, the location, what they're doing with some great equipment that DDS was able to provide to them. And we thought that that was a great company to a great program to recognize for that. So did anybody have anything they wanted to add or discuss regarding this nominee?
Fay Lenz, council member. I'll just say that the Kitchenette Futures has been around for a while, and they've had their ups and downs, and they've always come out on the right side. And it's a wonderful example of jobs for our kids and adults. And I think it is well deserved to put them forward in this category.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to add to that?
Kevin Zingler, council member. I just like to second what Faye said. They do a great job at employing individuals with all different levels of need, which is amazing, and providing a great service to the community. So well deserved, and I'm happy to support that decision. And for council members who may not know, obviously we did have Pam and Damien excuse themselves from the discussion, so we could have a fair and honest and open conversation about the nominations that were put forward. So they were not part of that decision-making process. I just want to make sure that you knew that and the public knew that. Thank you.
Addie Silva, council chair. Thank you for keeping us honest, Kevin. Did anybody have any other discussion on this nominee?
This is Lisa Weisinger. I want to third that comment. I think that not only Futures Kitchen, but also all that they do with their with all the innovative ideas that they're putting forward with their micro businesses, as well as with their the 2 stores that they have, I think are very creative in trying to find a niche for our family members who need employment, who are looking for employment, and they do it in a way that is systematic and extremely beneficial for those people who are employed by them. So thank you, Pam.
Patty Silva, council chair. Anyone else? Okay, are we good to move on to the next category? All right. Next. Oh, did somebody want to say something? Okay. Next category under innovative initiatives is community living. And this was interesting because we had nomination from it actually 2 nominations for the same company. So it was really kind of affirming of moving forward with this particular company. It's Metro Realty, Jeffrey Sager, president of Metro Realty Group and Sager Development out of Farmington. And they are the group that has been building the supportive housing that several of our members, for full disclosure, family members have been able to to live at and start a life in. So I think that this has just been a wonderful thing. We're kind of like at the beginning of this journey ourselves, but I think that individually, like Christine and Faye can speak to the impact that Metro Realty and Jeff Sager have had on their loved ones' lives. And it's Kevin, you probably can add to this as well. Just it's really life changing what they've been doing. So I'll let you, if anybody wants to add to this, please feel free.
Faye
Sure.
Lenz, council member. I'll go, and then Kevin and Christine can add it too. Danny lives in one of Jeff's, he calls it an apartment. His happens to be a townhouse community, and it goes back quite a ways, and it was the first one that they started. It's integrated. It's in Avon, and it changed Danny's life. The independence he has, and how he's grown in that independence is tremendous. And what I liked about this nomination is that there are 3 providers named. And Kevin, you can talk to Mark of Manchester, but there's also Southington and Favor, the Arc of the Farmington Valley. And it shows our providers working together as well to provide housing for many of our kids with IDD and autism. So I'm excited about this one.
Kevin Zingler, council member. I too would like to echo that. I've seen firsthand their developments. We've visited their developments. We've seen some of their residents who are happily living in their apartments, being independently able to do that with the right supports in place. Metro Realty has had a great track record. They're well known across the state, not just in one geographical area, but they're well known via many municipalities and other towns for doing quality work, for doing the right work and doing the morally and ethically right thing for their developments and for the community. I've had the pleasure of working with Jeff and Ben Tripp from Metro Realty on a project in South Windsor that we're hoping to break ground with next year. They've been a delight to work with, if you will. In talking with the town of South Windsor, their elected officials, and also their town staff, they have just had nothing but rave reviews. And that's what I found when I talked to my colleagues, as Faye had mentioned. Basically, Arca Southington has worked with them. They have a project that's off the ground. Favor has worked with them. They have a track record. They're doing the right thing, if you will, in the state of Connecticut. And I think it only strengthens the opportunities for the individuals that we support. And more importantly, the reason why we wanted to give out this award this year was because we wanted to spark other ideas and other development across the state to show that this is possible and it is happening in sectors of the state. So I think we should be celebrating these successes, and hopefully that will light a fire and spread that throughout the state of Connecticut to other developments. So I'm happy to support their development, and I think it's a great thing. So I encourage council members to endorse this.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Christine, you have your hand up.
Yes, Christine Hainsworth Strauss. The thing I loved about this was that 3 ARCs nominated them. It wasn't about from the parents. It wasn't coming. It was coming from the organizations that have worked to develop these alongside him. And I do mean alongside him. My 2 children that just moved out are in one of his projects. Meeting him in the hallway, I did not know he was the head guy. He was so busy helping out, doing everything, and following up on every detail to make our apartments work, our key fobs, everything that made it a success for them to move in. So I am just really grateful to see this kind of development happening, and I'm grateful that they're in different towns. I think that's important for people to know that although it may be one organization, they are in different towns already, and they're going to continue to spread hopefully throughout more towns in the state. So I'm happy to support this nomination.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Does anybody have anything to add? Okay. Are we good to move forward on to the next category? Okay. So the last category is enhancing independence / assistive technology. And we had let's see here. Oh, Loomability. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's the Loomability Assistive Technology Department has become a beacon of independence and accessibility in our community. Led by Jamie Martin, this department has revolutionized the way individuals navigate their homes, workplaces, and daily routines. More than just providing tools, Jamie's work is about unlocking potential, fostering confidence, and proving that independence is within reach for everyone. And this nomination went on to really, speak glowingly about the innovative solutions and how they've empowered individuals to reclaim autonomy in both ways, big and small. And we just thought it was a great nomination. Now, I was trying to do a little research because I'd never heard of them before, but are they an ARC? Because
They used to be Sarah.
okay, because I saw them listed on the ARC website under as one of the ARCs. So okay. So that is the nomination for this category. Is there any discussion or anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Are we good to go with that one? Does that sound okay with everybody? All right. So that is all of the categories. So if there's no further discussion on that, does somebody want to make a motion to accept all of those nominations as our 2025 legislative awards?
This is Kevin Zingler, council member. I will make a motion to accept the nominations as presented by the council chair in those categories that we just discussed as a group.
Is there a second?
Yeah, this is Damien, council member. I also second that.
Okay, so we'll move on to a vote. All in favor of?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let the record show that it was unanimous. Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. So again, the breakfast is all set for April 23rd. It's a Wednesday. We'll get you guys more information. Now we've talked about it in past meetings. It's an early start as far as getting set up. So I'm going to work on the invitation and we'll get that out to everybody. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to let either me or Kevin or Faye or Damien or Pam know, or Christine. So we're the subcommittee. So we will be hoping that you guys will be able to make it that day because it's a great opportunity to mingle and get to talk to legislators. And we hope that there's a good turnout because it is going to be on in the second floor atrium at the Legislative Office Building. So that's a great spot to be in. So if there's nothing else on that topic, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is supported decision making. We had, oh, Christine, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry, Pat. I have to step away. I do have one home right now. So I'm sorry. Do we want to discuss the bookmark? I emailed it to everybody. Sad I didn't get it
okay.
before. I'm so sorry.
Nope, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Today, so, should I explain?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, if I didn't say it, Christine Haynes or Strauss, council member, we in the past have handed a laminated bookmark out to the legislators that gives a focus about what we do to be not confused with any other council or a group. as to what we stand for or what we're advocating for currently. We updated it. It was wonderful to be able to take a few of the things and either modify them or take them off the list because some of those things got achieved since the last time, which is a huge, wonderful thing. And I wanted to make sure that the breadth of services from Lawn 1 to Lawn 7 were included in these, but we are trying to fit it on a tiny bookmark. So trying to be as brief as possible. So if you should have it in your email inbox to see what we are proposing for right now.
Okay. Kevin Bronson, you have your hand up?
Yeah, Kevin Bronson, DDS. I just saw Adriana's comment. Christine, are you the person that's editing the bookmark? Because if it is, I can send you the logo.
That would be great. Last time we used the seal of Connecticut, that was one of my questions. Do we do logo or do we do seal?
It's up to you, but I can still, Kevin Bronson, DDS. It's up to you either way, but I'll still send you the logo right now.
That would be great. And I will be sending it off to the printer. So yes, I'm the final person sending it out the door. But I'm happy to have anyone, I know Faye said she'd be happy to look at them and edit as well in our subcommittee. But if there's anybody else who wants to take, there's no pride of authorship here in writing these, but just trying to make sure we got the breadth and the ideas across as quickly as possible so that they remember us after they walk away from the breakfast and what we're really trying to do.
Okay. I'm not sure if everybody has access to that right now, Christine.
Could we say that they respond by Monday, telling me yes or no?
Yeah, why don't we have everybody do that? Because it's a little hard to get on that while, some people are on their phones or driving or whatever. So if you guys can all take a look at what Christine sent out and maybe from that original email, do a reply all, and we can, maybe have the discussion online by email. Does that make sense?
That would be very helpful. And I tried to get it done. I would like to get it to the printers by Friday, so we have plenty of time.
Okay. Does that sound good with everybody? So make sure you reply all so everybody can kind of be in on the conversation. All right. Thank you, Christine. Okay. Sorry, one second. Okay. So supported decision making. We had a presentation at one of our former meetings, previous meetings, and they were looking for the council's support on, I think them getting, I don't know if they've gotten a hearing yet. Does anybody know if they ever got a hearing on supported decision making? Because I know it's been a little while since we've, had this come up. So I have not been able to keep current with it, but they were looking for council support on supported decision making. I sent out all the materials that they shared with us, or that Shannon had shared with us prior to the meeting. So we wanted to try to have a discussion about it and just see how council members felt about this topic, and if it was something that we wanted to consider supporting.
This is Phyllis Simmer from the trustees of STS. I have been really thinking about this over the last month, and my personal experience as an occupational therapist, I've worked in hospitals, in rehab centers, I've worked at Southbury Training School, I've worked with group homes in the community, I work with a lot of elderly people, I still do home care, and I've always, basically though, what we learn in school and what we are advocates. So when we go in and work with an individual, we are an advocate for that individual. And we always, when we come up with our treatment plans, include the person in that. Reading even through this today, what was sent out today, at some point they get to the sentence where they say there'll be a group of people. Well, but it doesn't say how the individual is going to obtain that group of people. Okay, who's gonna? Do you see what I'm saying? So while I actually do or have participated in what the plan is, it doesn't say how we're going to do it. Okay, so as a healthcare professional, I work with the nurse and the PT, the OT, the speech person, the family, and the patient, and the doctors, because we have to have our plans approved by a doctor, and it is medically based. But sometimes it isn't, like in the school system, when we help develop a plan for a child. The psychologist is included, and it's built into the process is this team. At the training school, we had the case managers and we had team meetings, and all of us were involved, including the individual, on helping make a decision on what would do and helping guide them and they participated in it. I mean, they could make decisions on whether or not they were gonna, the simplest thing would have been, do you agree with the plan of how your day is going to be? Or do you agree with the medical plan when it's not an important thing to take care of, like a cardiac problem? Do you want to participate in that or not? And talk to them. But what I don't see with this is a way to assure that there is a group, that the people that are supposed to be working with the individual, how is that assured? How is that built into this, that it will occur? I've also, in my experience specifically at the training school, we have an individual who is looking over our consent decree. And even though the judge has decided that if the individual and the family want them to remain in their homes where they are, that is okay. This individual is very pro moving these people out into the community. And I have heard her say that she's going to go to probate and take away guardianship. She has never actually done it, but she says that. And I am a mother. And I have been a guardian for my mother, who recently passed away at 95. And how do you make that not happen? Okay, because your mothers, your fathers, you just don't do that. So those are all the things that have been bothering me. And I don't know if they're bothering anybody else, but I just have to say that I really have thought about this a lot, and those aspects of it are really bothering me.
Patty Silva, Council Chair. Thank you, Phyllis. Michael, you have your hand up?
Yes, Michael Beloff, council member. And I understand your concern. Having seen and talked with families in other states where there is a supported decision-making statute, I think the implementation of it is typically through a supported decision-making agreement. Think of it as an enhanced version of a power of attorney for an individual. So, remember guardianship or conservatorship is the process of taking away the rights of an individual to make their own decisions on certain aspects of their lives and placing that right to make the decision solely on a third party. Now, in your situation, it appears the third parties are keeping the person whose life is affected in the loop, but that is not required. And so the idea behind a supported decision-making is the individual would sign an agreement that says, for this topic in my life, housing, dealing with DDS, dealing with DSS, dealing with financial institutions, this is the person who I want to be my advocate and has the right to get information to allow me as the individual to make the decision that I want about my life. And the advantage, because typically a power of attorney is written purely for either financial decisions or for healthcare decisions. Healthcare power of attorney, financial power of attorney. There's a lot of topics in between that fall between the cracks that would be helpful to have something that individuals and organizations within the state have to recognize that this person can inquire on my behalf and gather information for me as the individual to make the decision. I've heard some complaints that one challenge with that is that that may not work for organizations outside of the state. But let's leave that aside for the moment because there's not a national program that way. The idea is that it's giving the power of the individual to make the final decision, but giving them the legal right or allowing them to keep the legal right to make that decision. I don't know if that description of how it's implemented helps from your standpoint.
This is Phyllis again. Yes, that I think that makes sense, but I don't see how it is written that that's going to happen.
And I think, I don't know if that's written specifically in the current statute that's being proposed. Oftentimes the original language is just a placeholder. So I don't know if they've come up with a specific language that's going to be in the Connecticut statute. Of course, that would need to be reviewed at some point to see how it's going to be implemented.
Right. So, I mean, because I guess that's what boils down to with all my verbosity here, is that how will that happen? Okay, and at what point will it happen? And at what stage in life or under what circumstances would this be initiated?
Well, this would be initiated at age 18 because, remember, at age 18, unless someone actually pursues guardianship, the individual as a legal adult gets to make their own decisions about their life. The main reason why many families in Connecticut have chosen guardianship or conservatorship is that they felt the individual was not capable of making their own decisions about certain aspects of their lives, either their financial decisions or their medical decisions. And so this would be a discussion at age 18, but also a review for individuals who are currently under guardianship, whether they are at a point where it makes sense for the parents to step away from that role at that stage.
So I guess what we need to know is what in the language of supporting this puts this in place. Do you understand what I'm saying? We just can't just say, well, we're going to do it. There has to be a mechanism for making sure it happens at the age of 18 or whatever time. And I don't really see that in here.
Well, some states have a standard support decision-making agreement. Some do not. It's a question of when it's implemented, how the individual who wants supports can indicate to government agencies and companies and organizations who they want their team to be. And it may have to have certain language in the same way a trust is created. There are standard powers of attorneys, and there are powers of attorneys that are more nuanced that attorneys will create, and that will that will be that case.
So doesn't this have to have that part involved in it? If you're
not necessarily, depending on how it's, again, this would be a question for the folks who are there. So for instance, we all know, because we all work with families with kids with disabilities, that a special needs trust is something very, very important for long-term planning for an individual with disabilities to help them maintain SSI and Medicaid because they can't have assets in their name. We have a statute in Connecticut that models the federal statute that authorized this, OBRA 93, that says, well, if you're going to have a special needs trust in Connecticut, it has to have at least this magic language to meet our particular rules. But after that, individual attorneys have a lot of leeway in terms of how to design the special needs trust. I think a question for the folks who were designing the statute and the process in Connecticut might be, how are we really implementing this? Is this going to be, should this be a document drafted by an attorney? Will there be a standard document? How will the individuals affected by this be able to legally say, this is my team, listen to them from that standpoint, to help me make my decisions?
Yep. I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I guess it comes down to, since I'm not used to legislative stuff, how, if that's not a part of it, how do we endorse it?
Well, and again, this is Michael Beloff again, council member. I think
Yep.
the issue is, it may not necessarily be in the late legislation, because again, Connecticut's legislation for special needs trusts does not say this is exactly what the trust looks like. Or the same thing with the power of attorney. I think it's, as this goes through the process, that will come up. I think the issue is, as a concept, do we as a council want to endorse the concept of supported decision making to give more empowerment to individuals with IDD to make their own decisions with appropriate supports where appropriate?
Right.
Or is this something we want to remain neutral on?
I think,
So what,
can I?
oh, Sean, go on.
As
Please,
Patty
Jessica.
Sullivan, Council Chair Fay, you had your hand up earlier, and then Adriana has hers up as well.
Right.
Go ahead, Fay.
Well, a couple of things. I think, and Kevin Zingler, you may know more about this than I do, but I believe there was some kind of a bill that was presented. I don't know, I don't think it got out of committee yet, but my understanding is that this is in addition to guardianship and conservatorship. It's not taking away from people who need to have a guardian or need to have someone as a conservator. It's just another option for people with intellectual and developmental disability or autism, to be able to be a part of the planning of their life. And I think for most people, or for some, I'll speak for us personally, we're Danny's guardians, but Danny has a role in making decisions about his life to the best of his ability. And as guardians, it's our responsibility to protect him where he can't make some of those. And Michael, you're right, whether it's financial or health or being taken advantage of. I think the group that would surround someone, and that group could be 2 people or it could be 5 people who wanted supportive decision making, would really be doing the same thing. They would be helping that person to make the best decision for them, whether it's financial or whatever. So I don't think it's an either or. I believe that the bill that was presented, or the policy or whatever we're calling it right now, and this concerned me, said in lieu of. And if you have in lieu of, it means in place of. Now, they
No,
said they just put it there, and that needs to be removed if we move forward with this. But I think it's just another option. We just have to be careful of the wording.
it is. It's not going to get rid of guardianship or conservatorship where it's
No, I
appropriate for an
understand
individual.
that.
But not every guardian is like us. There are guardians out there that will choose, and again, if you've seen, and I've seen a little video on that lovely young woman who basically emancipated herself from her parents who did not want her to live her life the way she wanted to. You know, for this is a way to you know, really get more than a petition is there. And again, listen, for my son, we're gonna still be his we're gonna still, you know, be there for him. But and this is not appropriate for him, but for many people, this may be an alternative for them that gives
Yes.
them more decisions to do on their own. Because again, there are times where, again, people also are allowed to make their own mistakes, especially if they're more independent. You have to let them make the mistakes so they can learn from it. That's why they're building this team around it. It's meant to be an alternative, not a substitute for guardianship
Correct.
or conservatorship for the right person.
Right, but the terminology they used, unfortunately, said, because I saw it, in lieu of it. I knew
It's
wasn't
in lieu. It's in lieu of getting guardianship for this person. It's not in lieu of guardianship, getting rid of guardianship for everybody.
That's not how it was worded.
Oh,
So
fair enough.
I think that caused the confusion. I'm all for it, by the way. I think it should be another option for people to have.
Patty Silva, Council Chair, sorry to interrupt. I know that Adriana has had her hand up, and it sounds like we need to have a lot more discussion on this. And we are already after 6:30. So what we can do is we can continue this discussion at our next meeting after Adriana speaks. Is that okay with everybody? Because I'm sure we could go on and on about it, but we want to continue this and have a robust dialogue about it. So if it's okay, we'll go on to Adriana, and then we will work on closing out this meeting. Okay.
Adriana Ramirez, council member. No worries. I will keep my comments till we discuss further because I'm part of the coalition and been involved in a lot. So I was just gonna add a few things, but let's wrap up and continue the conversation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Adriana. Patty Silva, Council Chair. So the next item on our agenda was the Connecticut DOT Transportation Study Update. Christine had informed me that the meeting was not held, so there really wasn't anything to report. Is that correct, Christine? Okay. All right. So hopefully maybe next meeting there'll be an update on that.
I'm sorry, Patty, it's Christine Haynes-Strauss. The meeting is being rescheduled to next week. What I'm hoping to show people is a grid of, let's see, there is requirements that each one of the things that are being suggested for the legislature to pay for our community has run through this grid and showing where the money is going and how. So hopefully that'll be available by next meeting.
Great. Okay, so we'll hopefully have something more on that next time around. And then just topics for future meetings. I'm going to keep the legislative breakfast on there, the supported decision making, and the topic that Christine was just speaking on, the transportation study update. Does that sound good with everybody? Okay. That is everything. Did anybody have any last words that they wanted to share or add? Okay, there being none. Oh,
wait. Sorry, I had my hand up. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Tracy.
I just want to add one thing for future meetings. I have spoken to my two children from DIN, and they would like to invite people for a tour if they'd like to see the apartment. And I've spoken to Favar, and they were amenable to hosting the meeting. We're just trying to figure out the technical abilities to do so. If somebody would like a field trip. Sorry for the people who live really far away. I apologize. But hopefully it will be something that will be productive for everybody. But that will be, we'll figure that out later for a date and time, but put it on the agenda as just an option.
That sounds like a great idea. Faye, go ahead.
Just quickly, along the lines of this supportive decision making, there was a group that got together. Shannon was a part of it. Adriana, you may have been there, and they had an expert come in and speak. Maybe it would be worth our while to have him come into the council and speak about it, to get clarity in terms of what's real and what is. So people, it helped me tremendously to understand that supportive decision making was an addition to conservatorship and guardianship. Just Shannon would know who that person is.
Okay, thank you, Faye. Anybody else? Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to close the meeting?
So moved. This is Kevin Zingler, council member.
I see Van's hand up. Van, would that be a second? Okay, so Kevin and Van, and it is 6:41. Boy, this is a late one. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and for all of your help with everything. I think we've got some a great slate of awardees, and we'll look forward to continuing to plan the breakfast and hope that you all have a great weekend. And we will talk to you soon. Keep an eye out for the bookmark discussion. All right. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Thank you.